In the quaint town of Willow Creek, spring was unfurling its vibrant colors, painting the landscape with hues of pink and yellow as blossoms burst forth from delicate branches. The fragrance of blooming flowers wafted through the air, mingling with the rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee. Clara stood by her kitchen window, her heart a flutter of uncertainty and hope. Having just moved to this picturesque town after a difficult separation, she was on a quest for a new beginning, a place where she could finally feel at home. Outside, the gentle rustle of leaves whispered secrets of the town to her, and Clara took a deep breath, trying to absorb the beauty surrounding her. Yet, amidst the picturesque scenery, she couldn't shake off the shadows of her past. Memories of dreams once cherished tugged at her heart, reminding her of the life she had envisioned, a life filled with laughter, love, and a sense of belonging. Now, standing in her new kitchen, the scent of coffee reminding her of simpler mornings, Clara felt a pang of nostalgia for a future that seemed to slip further away with each passing day. As she sipped her coffee, she gazed out at the world bustling below, a mix of families and friends enjoying the spring day. Their laughter echoed, a stark contrast to her internal solitude. Clara was determined to rediscover herself in this new chapter, yet the weight of her insecurities was heavy on her shoulders. She wondered if she would ever feel whole again, if her heart could mend from the fractures of her past. Hello, beautiful romantic soul. Before we dive into today's love story, I'd like to invite you to subscribe and leave a like. It's quick, free, and helps keep this little corner of love alive. And tell me in the comments, where in the world are you listening from tonight? Meanwhile, just outside Willow Creek, Ethan was tending to his farm, his hands deep in the soil, connecting with the land that had been both his solace and his burden after losing his wife years ago. With each seed he planted, he felt a flicker of hope, a quiet promise that life could still flourish, even after loss. The fields stretched endlessly before him, a patchwork of green and brown, and as he worked, he often found his thoughts drifting to the memories of Amelia, the love he had lost too soon. Ethan was a man of few words, but his presence spoke volumes. He was strong yet gentle, his eyes holding a depth of emotion that few dared to explore. Though he had built walls around his heart, the longing for connection lingered, hidden beneath layers of grief and self-imposed isolation. His days were filled with tasks and to-do lists, but at night, when the stars twinkled overhead, he felt the emptiness seep back in, reminding him of the warmth he once knew. As fate would have it, Clara and Ethan's paths were destined to cross at a community event, a spring fair that filled the town square with laughter, music, and the sweet scent of cotton candy. Clara hesitated at the edge of the bustling crowd, her heart racing with a mixture of excitement and anxiety. She had always been shy, and the thought of mingling with strangers sent her nerves spiraling. Yet, a part of her craved connection, a desire to feel alive amidst the chatter and laughter that enveloped the fair. Ethan, standing a short distance away, felt a spark of intrigue as he spotted Clara. There was something about her, a vulnerability in her expression that resonated with him. As she stood there, hesitant and shy, he couldn't help but admire her beauty, a delicate contrast to the vibrant chaos around them. In that moment, their eyes met, and a fleeting connection sparked between them, an unspoken understanding of the solitude they both carried. Clara took a deep breath, summoning her courage to step into the crowd. She wandered through the stalls, watching families share joyful moments, couples holding hands and children running with glee. Yet, amidst the warmth of the fair, Clara felt a sense of disconnection, as if she were an outsider looking in. Just as she was about to retreat to the safety of her thoughts, she accidentally bumped into Ethan, who was lost in his own reverie. "Oh, I'm so sorry," Clara blurted, her cheeks flushing as she stepped back. Ethan, momentarily startled, offered a soft smile, his eyes crinkling at the corners. "No harm done," he replied, his voice low and soothing. "I should have been paying more attention." For a brief moment, time stood still as they exchanged glances, a mixture of embarrassment and intrigue hanging in the air between them. Clara felt her heart race, an unfamiliar thrill coursing through her veins. "I'm Clara, by the way," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Ethan," he replied, his gaze unwavering. "Nice to meet you." Their conversation was punctuated by the sounds of laughter and music, but in that moment, it felt as if the world around them faded away. Clara could sense the warmth emanating from Ethan, a quiet strength that made her feel safe. Yet, the weight of her past lingered, a reminder of her hesitations and fears. As they talked, Clara shared her thoughts about the town, her nervousness about starting anew, and how she hoped to find a sense of belonging. Ethan listened intently, empathy shining in his eyes. He too had once felt the sting of loneliness and the yearning for connection. Each word they exchanged drew them closer, building a bridge between their hearts. Their initial encounter was marked by an awkwardness that felt strangely comforting, a shared vulnerability that sparked a flicker of hope in Clara's heart. Yet, as the fair drew to a close and the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Clara felt a pang of longing mixed with fear. Would this be a fleeting moment or the beginning of something deeper? Days turned into weeks and Clara found herself drawn back to the fairgrounds, where the memory of her encounter with Ethan lingered like a sweet melody in her mind. As she navigated her new life in Willow Creek, she began to explore the town, finding solace in its beauty and warmth. Each morning, she would sip her coffee by the window, the sun casting a golden glow on her hopes for the future. In the days that followed, Clara and Ethan's paths continued to intertwine. They met at the local market, their conversations growing more comfortable, more intimate. With each meeting, they shared pieces of their lives, their hopes, and their fears. Clara learned about Ethan's farm, the way he cherished the land, and how the simple act of planting seeds brought him peace. Ethan discovered Clara's dreams of becoming an artist, her longing to capture the beauty of the world around her. Yet, with the blossoming connection came the weight of their pasts. Clara found herself hesitating to fully open her heart, haunted by the fear of vulnerability and the scars left by her previous relationship. She wondered if she was ready to embrace love again, or if she would only end up heartbroken once more. Ethan, too, grappled with his emotions, the echoes of his past weighing heavily on him. Though he felt a deep connection to Clara, the fear of moving forward and the pain of loss loomed large in his mind. The tension between them ebbed and flowed, a delicate dance of hope and fear. Clara would often catch herself stealing glances at Ethan, captivated by the kindness in his eyes, the way he seemed to understand her without words. Yet, just as she felt herself leaning toward him, a wave of insecurity would wash over her, reminding her of the walls she had built around her heart. As spring turned into summer, the town buzzed with life, and Clara and Ethan's relationship deepened. They shared quiet walks beneath the stars, laughter over shared meals, and moments of silence that spoke volumes. But the unaddressed weight of their pasts loomed like a shadow, casting doubt on the budding romance they were nurturing. One fateful evening, Clara received an unexpected visit from an old friend, someone from her life before Willow Creek. The arrival of her friend, filled with memories of their shared past, stirred emotions in Clara that she had tried to keep at bay. As they reminisced, Clara felt a pang of nostalgia mixed with confusion. She was torn between the life she had left behind and the new possibilities that were unfolding before her. When Ethan learned of the visit, he felt a wave of uncertainty wash over him. He had been slowly opening up to Clara, allowing himself to feel again, only to be confronted with the spectre of her past. The insecurities he had buried began to resurface, and he couldn't help but wonder if Clara's heart still belonged to someone else. The tension between them escalated, leading to misunderstandings and unspoken words. Clara noticed Ethan becoming distant, his laughter less frequent, his eyes clouded with something she couldn't quite decipher. It was as if the walls they had begun to build together were crumbling, leaving them both feeling vulnerable and lost. The climax of their emotional turmoil arrived one stormy night when the skies opened up, pouring rain over the town. Clara, caught in a whirlwind of confusion and sorrow, felt an overwhelming urge to seek comfort. Without thinking, she found herself at Ethan's farm, her heart racing as she approached the familiar door. The pounding rain mirrored the chaos in her heart as she knocked, each drop a reminder of the emotions she had been trying to navigate. When Ethan opened the door, surprise mingled with concern in his eyes. Clara felt a rush of emotions, fear, longing, and the desperate need for connection.
"Clara," he said, his voice barely audible over the sound of the rain. "I need to talk," she replied, her voice trembling as she stepped inside. The warmth of his home enveloped her, contrasting sharply with the storm raging outside. They stood facing each other, the tension thick in the air, both searching for words that felt just out of reach.
Clara's heart raced, the vulnerability of the moment forcing her to confront the feelings she had been avoiding. As the rain continued to pour, Clara found herself pouring out her heart, sharing her fears and insecurities. Ethan listened, his expression shifting from surprise to understanding, the weight of their shared pain finally breaking the dam of silence that had built between them. In that moment, as the storm raged outside, they found solace in each other. Clara's heart ached with the realization that love was worth the risk, worth the fear of getting hurt again. And Ethan, in witnessing her courage, felt the walls around his heart begin to crumble, allowing the light of hope to seep through. It was a pivotal moment, a turning point that would shape their lives forever. As they stood together, vulnerability laid bare, they began to understand that love was not just about the joys and laughter, but also about facing the storms together, hand in hand. In the soft glow of the storm-lit room, they leaned closer, hearts synchronized in a delicate dance of emotions, ready to face whatever lay ahead together. As the storm subsided outside, a soft hush enveloped the room, broken only by the gentle ticking of the wall clock and the distant sound of raindrops tapping against the window. Clara and Ethan remained in their cocoon of warmth, the lingering tension between them slowly dissolving into a fragile sense of understanding. The air felt different now, charged with an electricity that had been absent before. It was as if the storm had swept away their fears, leaving behind only the raw truth of their feelings. Clara glanced up at Ethan, her chest tightening at the vulnerability etched across his face. The shadows of his past still lingered in his eyes, but now there was also a flicker of something new. Hope.
"Ethan," she began, her voice barely a whisper. "I never meant to come here like this. I didn't know what to expect. But I'm so grateful I did." He searched her gaze, as if trying to decipher the depths of her sincerity. "You have no idea how much this means to me, Clara," he replied, his voice low and steady. "I've been so afraid to let anyone in after losing her."
"But there's something about you that feels different." The weight of his words hung in the air, and Clara felt a warmth spread through her, washing away the remnants of doubt that had clouded her heart. She had come to Willow Creek seeking solace, a place to heal and rediscover herself. Little did she know that in doing so, she would find something far more profound, a connection that transcended their shared pain. As they spoke, the distance between them closed, and Clara found herself leaning closer, drawn to Ethan's quiet strength. The flickering candlelight cast dancing shadows on their faces, highlighting the intensity of the moment. She could see the battle raging within him, the struggle to embrace the possibility of love again. "I know it's hard," she said softly, her fingertips brushing against his hand. "But we can take it slow. There's no rush. Just let's not deny what's happening between us." Ethan inhaled deeply, a mixture of fear and longing swirling within him. "I want to, Clara. I really do," he confessed, his eyes searching hers. "But what if I can't be what you need? What if I can't let go of the past?" Clara's heart ached for him, for the burden he carried. "We all have our battles," she replied, her voice steady, "and we don't have to fight them alone. I'm here, Ethan. I want to be here. For you." The sincerity in her words reached him, unraveling the knots of uncertainty that had held him captive for so long. As the last remnants of the storm faded into the night, Ethan took a leap of faith, intertwining his fingers with hers. The warmth of his touch sent a shiver down Clara's spine, igniting a spark that had been dormant for too long. For the first time in years, Ethan felt the walls around his heart begin to crumble, allowing the light of hope to seep through the cracks. They sat in silence for a moment, the only sound the soft rustle of the wind against the trees outside. It was a comfortable silence, filled with unspoken promises and shared vulnerabilities. As the clock struck midnight, Clara broke the stillness. "What if we start with small steps?" she suggested, her eyes brightening with excitement. "Let's go for a walk tomorrow morning, maybe explore the trails around your farm. I'd love to see the sunrise there." A smile broke through Ethan's somber expression, transforming his features into something softer, warmer. "I'd like that," he said, his voice laced with genuine enthusiasm. "You'll see the beauty of it all. The fields, the flowers, the way the world awakens when the sun rises. It's magical." Clara couldn't help but let out a soft laugh, a sound that felt foreign, yet exhilarating.
"I can't wait to see it," she replied, her heart fluttering with anticipation. There was a sense of possibility blooming between them, like the wildflowers that lined the trails, vibrant and full of life. As they sat together in the flickering candlelight, Clara felt a shift within herself. The heaviness that had once clung to her spirit began to lift, replaced by a lightness she had thought impossible.
Maybe, just maybe, this weekend in the countryside would be the beginning of something beautiful. The next morning, Clara awoke to the gentle sound of birds chirping outside her window, a melody that beckoned her to rise and embrace the day. She stretched, savoring the warmth of the sunlight streaming through the curtains, illuminating the small room that had become her sanctuary. The promise of a new beginning lingered in the air, and she felt a flutter of excitement in her chest. After a quick breakfast, Clara donned a light jacket and stepped outside, inhaling the crisp morning air. The world around her was painted in soft hues of gold and green, the dew glistening on the blades of grass like tiny diamonds. As she made her way to Ethan's farm, her heart raced with anticipation. Ethan was already waiting for her by the entrance, leaning against the wooden fence that bordered his property. The early morning sun highlighted the contours of his face, and Clara couldn't help but admire the way he seemed to radiate warmth and strength. "Good morning," he greeted her, a genuine smile breaking across his features. "Good morning," she replied, her own smile mirroring his. "Ready for an adventure?" he asked, his eyes sparkling with mischief. "Absolutely!" Clara exclaimed, her enthusiasm bubbling over. They set off along the winding path that led to the trails, the scent of blooming flowers enveloping them. Clara felt a sense of freedom as they walked side by side, their conversation flowing effortlessly. They shared stories about their lives, their dreams, and the small joys that brought them happiness. Ethan spoke of his love for farming, the way he found solace in the rhythm of planting and harvesting. "It's a simple life," he said, his voice filled with passion, "but it's rewarding in ways I never expected. There's something beautiful about nurturing life from the ground up." Clara listened intently, captivated by the way he spoke with such reverence for the land. "I can see how much it means to you," she replied, her heart swelling with admiration. "It's inspiring." As they continued along the trail, the sun began to rise higher in the sky, casting a golden glow over the landscape. Clara felt as if they were walking through a painting, the beauty of nature surrounding them like a warm embrace. She glanced at Ethan, who was lost in thought, his expression serene and contemplative. "Ethan," she said softly, breaking the comfortable silence, "what do you dream about? When you think about the future, what do you see?" He paused, considering her question. "I dream of a life filled with laughter and love," he confessed, his gaze steady. "I want to rebuild what was lost, to create new memories that honor the past while embracing the future." Clara's heart skipped a beat at his words. The vulnerability in his voice resonated deeply within her, igniting a spark of hope. "I want that too," she admitted, her voice trembling slightly. "I've been so afraid to dream again, but with you, I feel like anything is possible." Ethan turned to her, his eyes searching hers for a moment before he spoke. "Then let's dream together, Clara. Let's take this journey one step at a time." As they continued their walk, Clara felt an overwhelming sense of connection with Ethan, as if the universe had conspired to bring them together at this moment. The weight of their past still lingered, but for the first time she felt ready to embrace the uncertainty of the future. After exploring the trails and sharing laughter, they found a secluded spot by a small pond, the water reflecting the clear blue sky above. It was a perfect place to pause, to simply be present in the moment. They settled on the grass, the soft blades cushioning them as they soaked in the tranquility surrounding them. Ethan reached for Clara's hand, intertwining his fingers with hers. The gesture sent a jolt of warmth through her, a reminder of the connection they were forging. "Thank you for being here with me," he said, his voice low and sincere. Clara turned to him, her heart swelling with emotion. "Thank you for inviting me into your world," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "I never expected to feel this way, especially after everything." Ethan's gaze softened as he studied her, and Clara could sense the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air. "What if we keep this going?" he asked, a hint of vulnerability lacing his tone. "What if we explore what this connection means together?" Her heart raced at the suggestion, a mixture of excitement and trepidation flooding her senses. "I'd like that," she replied, her voice steady. "I want to see where this leads us." With the sun casting a warm glow around them, they leaned closer, the world outside fading into a distant hum. Clara felt the pull between them, a magnetic force that drew them together, and as their lips met in a tentative kiss, the storm of their pasts began to dissipate, giving way to the hope of new beginnings. In that moment, Clara knew she had stepped into a new chapter of her life, one filled with possibility, love, and the promise of healing. As they pulled away, their foreheads resting against each other, Clara couldn't help but smile, knowing that she had found a kindred spirit in Ethan, a man who would change her life forever. And as the sun continued to rise, illuminating the path that lay ahead, they both understood that their journey was just beginning, a beautiful tapestry of moments waiting to be woven together. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm golden glow across Willow Creek, Clara and Ethan found themselves wrapped in a cocoon of newfound intimacy. The remnants of the storm lingered in the air, a soft breeze carrying the scent of damp earth and blooming flowers, mingling with the fading echoes of thunder. Clara felt a wave of vulnerability wash over her, a mixture of fear and exhilaration. It was as if she had stepped into a dream, one where she could finally breathe without the weight of her past pressing down on her. They lingered in the silence, the world around them quieting as if holding its breath. Clara's heart raced as she gazed into Ethan's eyes, those deep pools of emotion that had drawn her in from the very first moment. She could see the flicker of uncertainty in his gaze, mirroring her own. They were two souls navigating uncharted waters, both yearning for connection, yet hesitant to fully embrace it. "Clara," Ethan whispered, breaking the silence. His voice was low and steady, grounding her amidst the swirl of her thoughts. "I don't want to push you into anything. I know we both have our pasts, and I
don't want to scare you away." His honesty struck a chord within her, resonating with the fears she had kept buried for so long. Clara took a deep breath, the air filling her lungs with courage. "I'm scared too," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "But I don't want to run away from this. You make me feel alive." Ethan's expression softened, a flicker of hope igniting in his eyes.
"Alive," he echoed, as if the word itself held a promise. "I've been so lost since Sarah. I didn't think I could ever feel anything like this again." Clara felt a pang of empathy at the mention of his late wife. She understood the weight of grief, the shadows that could creep into every corner of one's life. "I can't imagine how difficult that must have been for you," she said gently. "But I want you to know that I'm here. We can face our pasts together, if you let me." Ethan nodded slowly, the tension in his shoulders easing ever so slightly. "Together," he repeated, the word lingering in the air between them. They shared a moment of understanding, an unspoken agreement to navigate the complexities of their hearts side by side. As they stood there, the remnants of the storm giving way to a starry night, Clara felt a sense of peace wash over her. She had been searching for a place to belong, and in Ethan's presence, she felt as if she had finally found it. The fears that had once paralyzed her began to dissolve, replaced by a gentle warmth that spread through her chest. The days that followed were a tapestry of shared moments, laughter, and quiet connections. Clara and Ethan explored Willow Creek together, wandering through the vibrant farmers' market, where the air was filled with the aroma of fresh produce and baked goods. Clara loved the way Ethan's eyes lit up as he tasted different cheeses and fruits, his laughter ringing out like music amidst the bustling crowd. She found joy in those small moments, reveling in the simple pleasure of being by his side. One afternoon, they ventured out to the nearby hills, the sun shining brightly as they hiked along the winding trails. Clara felt invigorated by the fresh air, her heart soaring as they climbed higher. Ethan walked beside her, their fingers brushing together in a gentle caress, sending shivers of anticipation through her. "Look at that view," Ethan said, gesturing toward the horizon where the rolling hills kissed the sky. Clara's breath caught in her throat as she took in the breathtaking sight. The landscape stretched out before them, a patchwork of greens and golds, the beauty of nature enveloping them like a warm embrace. "It's stunning," she replied, turning to him with a smile. "I feel like I could stay here forever." Ethan's gaze met hers, and for a moment, the world around them faded away. "You know, Clara," he said softly, "I never thought I'd share moments like this again. You've brought something back into my life that I thought was lost." Clara's heart fluttered at his words, a mixture of hope and uncertainty swirling within her. She wanted to believe that they could create something beautiful together, but the shadows of her past still lingered, whispering doubts into her mind. "Ethan, I'm still trying to figure things out. I don't want to hurt you." He stepped closer, his eyes searching hers with an intensity that made her pulse quicken. "You won't hurt me, Clara. I promise. We both have scars, but that doesn't mean we can't heal together. We just need to be honest with each other." His sincerity wrapped around her like a comforting blanket, and Clara felt the tension in her chest begin to ease. Perhaps this was the path she had been searching for, a chance to open her heart again, to find solace in the presence of someone who understood her struggles. Yet, just as they began to explore the depths of their connection, the spectre of misunderstanding loomed over them. One evening, as they sat together on the porch of Ethan's farmhouse, sharing stories and laughter, Clara's old friend, Lydia, unexpectedly arrived for a visit. Clara had invited her before she had even met Ethan, not anticipating how things would evolve. Lydia's arrival brought with it an air of excitement, but Clara could sense a shift in Ethan's demeanor. He grew quiet as Lydia regaled them with tales of their past adventures, her laughter filling the space between them. Clara watched Ethan's expression change subtly, a flicker of discomfort crossing his face, as he listened to Lydia reminisce about their carefree days. "Remember that time we went to the beach and got caught in that storm?" Lydia laughed, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "I still can't believe we ended up stranded in that little cabin." Clara joined in the laughter, but she noticed Ethan's gaze drifting out toward the fields, a shadow of uncertainty clouding his features. The lightness of the moment began to dissipate, replaced by an awkward tension that Clara couldn't ignore. It was as if a wall had risen between them, separating the warmth they had built together. When Lydia finally left, Clara turned to Ethan, her heart heavy with concern. "Are you okay?" she asked, reaching out to touch his arm. "I know it was a lot, but I'm fine," he replied too quickly, his voice lacking its usual warmth. It's hard to see you with someone who knows you so well. I guess I'm still getting used to it." Clara's heart sank. "Ethan, you have to know that Lydia is part of my past. What we have is different. It's real." His eyes met hers, and for a fleeting moment she saw the vulnerability behind his guarded expression. "I know," he said quietly, "but it's hard not to feel overshadowed by it." In that moment, Clara understood the weight of his insecurities, the fear that had been lurking beneath the surface. They were both grappling with the ghosts of their pasts, and it was clear that they needed to confront those feelings head-on. "I don't want to lose you," Clara admitted, her voice trembling as she spoke. "You mean so much to me, Ethan. I'm here, right now, with you. Please don't let the past come between us." He stepped closer, his eyes searching hers for reassurance. "I don't want to lose you either. I just need to know that what we have is real, that it's not just a fleeting moment." Clara took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts. "It's real. It's terrifying, but it's real. I want to build something with you, something we can both hold on to." As she spoke, she felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. They were standing on the precipice of something beautiful, but it would require vulnerability and trust. "Can we promise to communicate? To be open about our fears and insecurities?" Ethan nodded slowly, the tension in his shoulders easing as he took her hands in his, grounding both of them in the moment. "I promise," he said softly. "Let's face this together." The sincerity in his voice brought a warmth to her heart, and Clara felt a wave of relief wash over her. They were stepping into the unknown, but they wouldn't be alone. Together they would navigate the complexities of their pasts and forge a path toward healing. As the days turned into weeks, Clara and Ethan continued to grow closer, their bond deepening with every shared experience. They attended community events, worked together on the farm, and found solace in the quiet moments, sipping coffee on the porch as the sun rose, planting flowers in the garden, or simply sitting under the stars, their hands intertwined. Through it all, Clara found herself falling for Ethan in ways she had never imagined. His kindness, strength, and unwavering support brought light into her life, illuminating the shadows that had once consumed her. She marveled at the way he listened, how he made her feel seen and valued, and in return, she opened her heart to him, sharing her hopes and dreams, her fears and insecurities. One evening, as they sat beneath a blanket of stars, Clara turned to Ethan, her heart pounding with the weight of her feelings. "Ethan," she said softly, "I need you to know that I'm falling in love with you." His gaze met hers, and for a moment, the world around them faded away. "I'm falling in love with you too, Clara," he replied, his voice filled with sincerity. You've brought so much joy into my life, and I can't imagine a future without you." In that moment, Clara felt a rush of emotion, a sense of belonging that enveloped her like a warm embrace. They leaned closer, the world outside fading into a distant hum. Clara felt the pull between them, a magnetic force that drew them together, and as their lips met in a tentative kiss, the storm of their pasts began to dissipate, giving way to the hope of new beginnings. As they pulled away, their foreheads resting against each other, Clara couldn't help but smile, knowing that she had found a kindred spirit in Ethan, a man who would change her life forever. And as the sun continued to rise, illuminating the path that lay ahead, they both understood that their journey was just beginning, a beautiful tapestry of moments waiting to be woven together.